Hi, folks. Welcome to Stuart Reacts, but this isn't just Stuart Reacts today. This is Stuart Reacts Up Close. Now, as you know, over the last few days, right from the very first reaction, I have discovered a guy called Dimash Qudaibergen. Okay, there's that pronunciation again, so just ignore that, right? Okay, and actually, what I have actually discovered is through the reactions that I've did so far, his voice is incredible. The range in his voice, he's just outstanding. Now, today I haven't told anybody that I was going to be doing this, okay? And the reason why this is called Stuart Reacts Up Close is because when I was looking for the reactions, the videos to do the reactions, I came across this one. Now, this is not a music reaction today. This is more of an up close about Dimash himself. And this is basically called Dimash Behind the Music. So this is like a biography. Now, one thing I'm going to say is I'm going to class this is to take this as entertainment purposes only, in case there maybe is some things that are not quite factual. But I would say a good lot of it maybe I will learn something. I have learned a lot through your comments and all the fans, the dears, and whatever. Okay. But this little video, I think, will maybe supply a little bit more. So this is a bit of a longer video today, folks. I think this video is only about 11 minutes long, but hopefully it'll maybe give me an idea more about Dimash and whatever. So let's see what it's all about anyway. I don't know what we're going to hear. I don't know how much of it's factual. You know what I mean? I'm sure you, the fans, and the people will all have something to say about this. So let's have a look at Dimash behind the voice. So here we go. Once again, folks, I will have the mic off because I've still got COVID, because I'm sniffling and everything. So here we go. Let's see what this is all about.
Before millions of fans started flying across the world just to hear him sing live, many people in Kazakhstan didn't truly recognize Dimash's talent. Today, he fills arenas across Europe and Asia, breaks vocal records, and has fans willing to spend thousands of dollars just to see him for a few hours. But behind all of this, there's a part of his story that almost nobody talks about. A story about pressure, rejection, and a dream that almost stayed impossible. And honestly, the strangest part is how early all of this started. Dimash Qudaibergen was born on May 24, 1994 in the Kazakh city of Aktobe, in a family where music was already part of everyday life. His mother worked as a singer at the Aktobe Philharmonic, while his father worked in the cultural department and later became Dimash's producer. Even his grandparents were connected to music. His grandmother loved singing, and his grandfather still plays the dombra. And before most children even understand what a stage is, Dimash was already standing on one. At just 2 years old, he appeared in a small local theater production. But at that moment, nobody could imagine that this quiet boy from Aktobe would one day become one of the most discussed singers in the world. By the age of 5, Dimash was already studying vocals and piano at a local music studio. And almost immediately, people around him started noticing something unusual. Not just talent, control. Even as a child, he could hit notes that shocked audiences much older than him. At 6 years old, he won a national piano competition. 4 years later, he was already becoming one of the standout performers at regional music events. And while other kids were still figuring out what they wanted to do in life, Dimash already looked like someone preparing for a stage much bigger than Kazakhstan. But there was one thing that made him different from most young performers. He wasn't trying to become famous. Music already felt personal to him. In 2010, he received his first major recognition as a vocalist at the international festival Voices of Baikonur. 2 years later, he won the Grand Prix at the national competition Jazz Kanat. And this is where things slowly started changing. Because by that point, Dimash was no longer just a gifted local singer. People inside the music industry were beginning to understand that his voice was something extremely rare. He later entered the Kazakh National University of Arts, studying jazz vocals. And that's when teachers officially confirmed something that sounded almost unreal. Dimash had a 6-octave vocal range, bass notes, falsetto, bel canto technique. He could move between completely different vocal styles in ways most singers simply can't. And honestly, that's also when the comparison started. Some
And I can actually clarify that because, as you know, when I did the reactions, when he did change his octaves and his vocal range, it actually made me jump a couple of times. And I also did comment about, how if you closed your eyes in some instances, you would maybe think it was different people singing. So interesting so far. So let's carry on.
Others believed the world still had no idea who he really was. But everything changed in 2015 because one performance suddenly turned Dimash from a talented singer into an international phenomenon. In 2015, Dimash arrived at the Slaviansky Bazaar Festival in Belarus as just another contestant. But after the first performance, people in the audience already understood they were seeing something unusual. For the opening round, Dimash performed Dai Dao and scored 89 points, immediately pulling ahead of the other contestants. And suddenly, people started talking about him everywhere. Not only because of the voice, but because nobody expected someone that young to sing with that level of control and emotion. In the second round, he performed the Russian song Again a Snowstorm by Konstantin Mladze. And the pressure became even bigger. Because now people weren't just curious about him anymore. They were expecting him to win. But the performance that truly changed everything came in the final round. Dimash walked onto the stage and performed the French song Sos d'un terrien en détresse. And honestly, after that moment, his life was never the same again. The performance instantly spread across the post-Soviet world. People replayed the video again and again, trying to understand how one person could sing like that. By the end of the competition, Dimash scored 175 points out of 180 and won the Grand Prix. Along with the award, he also received a $20,000 cash prize. But much more importantly, he suddenly became famous far beyond Kazakhstan. And this is where the reaction started becoming complicated. Because while millions of people were falling in love with his voice, others started comparing him to Vitas, criticizing his style and arguing whether his performances were real music or just vocal tricks. But the criticism only made him more talked about. And Dimash understood something very quickly. The bigger he became, the harder it would be to protect his private life. As
Do you know what it is? It doesn't matter. It's unbelievable. When these people finally get recognized, you know what I mean? And Dimash is being recognized for his talent here. And more people are being made aware of him. You always get the critics, don't you? You always get the critics who have something to say or try to dramatize things. And, like trying to compare him to somebody else and is he copying somebody else or whatever. It's just unbelievable. But I suppose that's it's part of the business, and as I say, it didn't change, how he has came forward, so let's carry on. And by the way, folks, if you're just watching this again, just take this strictly as entertainment purposes only, because I don't know how much of this is actually factual, but I'm sure you will tell me.
Dimash's popularity kept growing, his music started reaching audiences far outside the post-Soviet world. He performed in Russian, English, French, Spanish, and several other languages. And the more international he became, the more obsessed fans became with him. But one country changed his life more than any other: China. After appearing in a major international vocal competition there, Dimash suddenly turned into a phenomenon. Millions of Chinese women became obsessed with him almost overnight. Fans followed him everywhere: hotels, airports, concert venues. Sometimes crowds became so intense that security struggled to control them. And this is where Dimash became even more careful about one thing: his personal life. Because while the internet was discussing his voice, fans were desperately trying to find out who he was dating. For a long time, Dimash was linked to Nursel Abakarova. The two studied together at the Kazakh National University of Arts, and fans often noticed photos of them together online. At one point, many people genuinely believed she would become his wife. But the wedding never happened, and Dimash almost never explained anything publicly, which only made people even more curious, because the more famous he became, the more mysterious he started acting. Eventually, Dimash officially confirmed that his heart was free, but then he added something that fans still talk about today. He said every fan technically has a chance to become his chosen one, but being his wife would not be easy, because Dimash planned to live surrounded by his entire family, parents and relatives included. And honestly, that answer only made his fans love him even more. But while people online were discussing his relationships, Dimash quietly started building something much bigger than just a music career. While most people saw Dimash as just a singer with an unbelievable voice, he was already thinking much bigger. At some point, he quietly entered business. Together with his friend Damir Muratov, Dimash launched his own line of elite tea and chocolate. And surprisingly, the products quickly became popular not only in Kazakhstan, but also in Europe, the United States, and Latin America. But money and fame never completely changed the image he tried to build around himself. Because while other celebrities were showing luxury online, Dimash was becoming known for something very different: charity. And honestly, this is one of the reasons many fans became emotionally attached to him far beyond music. Dimash regularly supported environmental projects, children's foundations, and medical charities. One of his concert costumes from Singer 2017 was sold, and the money went to helping children with blood diseases. Later, a signed Dombra connected to Dimash was sold to support Chinese children born with congenital palate defects. And during the coronavirus pandemic, when many families in Kazakhstan were left without work, Dimash sent tons of food to Nur Sultan and Aktobe to help people survive the crisis. At the same time, his music career kept growing almost uncontrollably. By 2021, Dimash was already performing huge solo concerts across multiple countries. One of the biggest happened in Moscow at the Megasport Arena, where more than 10,000 people came to see him live. And this is where another interesting detail appeared. On stage beside him was Igor Krutoy, one of the most influential composers and producers in the Russian-speaking music industry. For many people, that moment felt symbolic, because the same singer who once struggled to be fully accepted in his own country was now performing on massive international stages in front of thousands of people. And later that same year, his song "Fly Away" entered Billboard's Hot Trending Songs chart, which meant something very important. Dimash was no longer just a regional phenomenon anymore. He was becoming a global artist. But despite all the fame, millions of fans, and worldwide recognition, there's still one thing about Dimash that people continue arguing about even today. By the end of 2021, Dimash was no longer just a singer with a powerful voice. He had become one of the most recognizable artists to ever come out of Kazakhstan. His tours were expanding across Europe and Asia, his concerts were selling out, and millions of fans online treated him less like a musician and more like someone they felt personally connected to. That same year, his song "Fly Away" entered Billboard's Hot Trending Songs chart after premiering at the New Wave Festival in Sochi. And suddenly, the same artist who once struggled to be fully accepted at home was now appearing on international charts beside some of the biggest names in music. Later, Dimash was also shortlisted for the Russian Victoria Prize alongside artists like Philip Kirkorov, Dima Bilan, and Leonid Agutin. And honestly, at that point, it became impossible to call him just a Kazakh singer anymore. He had become something much bigger. But what makes Dimash different from many modern celebrities is that even after all the fame, the mystery around him never disappeared. Fans still argue about his relationships, about his personality, about whether someone with a voice like this can even live a normal life. And maybe that's exactly why people remain so obsessed with him. Because behind the records, concerts, awards, and millions of views, Dimash still feels strangely unreachable, like someone the world still hasn't fully figured out. And maybe the most ironic part of his story is that the boy many people once underestimated in Kazakhstan ended up becoming one of the most internationally recognized artists his country has ever produced.
So there you go. Do you know something? That actually wasn't as bad as I thought. I was dreading that because I didn't know what it was going to say because, as you know, I don't watch any videos before I react to them or whatever. So in a way, this is still a reaction. I'm just going to say something here, you know. Um, I'm not really happy about the part where the girl said in the video about, fans continue to argue about relationships and whatever. But why would fans be arguing about relationships? The guy is allowed to have a life. The guy is allowed to have love in his life like everybody else. From what I can experience from the fans that have come into my reactions, they're lovely, lovely people. These are all lovely, lovely people, and whatever. So why would people get upset? About him being in a relationship. This is a human being here. This is a guy who's entitled to love like everybody else. You know what I mean? Let him have love. If he finds love and whatever, that's his life. That's his destiny. That's part of him. Now I'm not saying this is all true, what's been said in the video, but I just needed to say that. And also as well, I thought it was lovely about, excuse me, I'm sniffing still, about when they said about, about when him be living and having his family around him because his family are important to him and whatever. And all the charity work and all that he does as well. All the people he helped out in COVID. This is a lovely, lovely guy. That video actually wasn't, I was dreading it because I know you all tune in to watch this and I didn't know what it was going to say. So I'm pleasantly surprised it wasn't very controversial or anything. I just didn't know what we were going to hear. It was actually a nice little summary, but I'm sure you will have more to say about this video. Once again, I just did this, but just to round off, there will be more Dimash reactions, obviously, through time. But I just thought I just seen this, and I just thought I would do this and have a look to finish the week off. And I hope you enjoy watching it with me. But a whole lot of you have probably seen it already, that video. So there you go. Sorry about the bit of rant there about the relationship thing, but I think you all know where I'm coming from here. Well, listen, folks, just before I go, here's a little word from Michael.
Hi, I'm Michael. I'm here to tell you all about the channel Stuart Reacts. If you're enjoying the reactions, hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss a video. And don't forget to join our community, the Chatter House, on Facebook. See you in the next one.
And there you go. And please, please, if you can give the video a thumbs up, it would be great. Also, folks, if you'd like to support, give the channel a little bit of support because I've been really struggling at the moment because I've had a lot of electrical stuff breaking down. There's a little QR code up there. If you just scan the QR code there, you can maybe buy me a wee coffee or something. You don't have to, but it'd be appreciated if you did or whatever. Listen, folks, thanks very much for joining me today on Stuart Reacts Up Close. And I will see you all very, very soon. See you later.